Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Cpaital, a couple that loves to play board games.
And the moon.
Yay, so bright.
Now this is our Check It Out series, where we showcase various board games to you in hopes of inspiring you to play them. And this week we're taking a look at the brand new Luna Cpaital.
Check it out, check it out, check it out like it's shining like the moon. In this 2 to 4 player game, you'll go back to the first time we landed on the moon, 1977. Amazing. But this time we're interested in settling on the moon. And you're going to take the role as a sponsor. Your job, create the best space on the moon so that you can claim the name of capital city. Now let's take a quick look at how to play the game.
Now as always, you'll begin by setting up. You'll give each player 3 random construction cards, a sponsor tile, and 3 corresponding identification tokens. You'll then place the main board at the center of the table. You'll place the construction cards to the side and draw 1 for each of the 4 spaces. You'll then sort the projectiles into the 3 phases, put the phase A ones into the rocket ship, and deal 1 for each of the construction card spaces. You'll put the Cellnet robot and logistics redistribution tokens in the reserve spaces where everyone can reach them. You'll then place 2 short-term and 1 long-term concession cards on the board as well. Now in Luna Cpaital, you'll be creating your own settlement by placing construction cards down onto the table. You'll then populate each of the construction cards with projectiles, making your city thrive. Now on your turn, you'll take one of the 4 available sets of construction cards and projectiles. Now you take the construction card into your hand and play one of the ones from your hand onto your field. Now there's a few rules you must follow when playing construction cards. It can't be placed covering any other cards, and it cannot be rotated. It has to be orthogonally adjacent to an existing card already played. There can be a maximum of 3 rows, so you can't create another row if you already have 3. And the construction card numbers have to increase from left to right, and no number can repeat within the row. Now once you place your construction card, you have to play your projectiles. Now you can play your projectiles on the card you've just placed or any other spaces in your settlement. Now once every player has gone, you're on to the next round, where 2 projectiles will now be in place instead of 1. And this will increase to 3 in the 3rd round and 4 in the 4th round. So by the 4th round, you'll be picking a construction card and 4 projectiles that correspond to it. The other thing to note is once you pick your cards, you'll place the last delivery marker in that space. Now, if the next player chooses that space, they will have to discard a construction card to do so. So after 4 rounds at the end of phase A, you'll reset all the projectiles to the letter B instead and play another 4 rounds. You'll do that for C, and then the game is over. Now I find a great way to learn this game is to look through the final scoring and how these tiles work within each other. So let's take a look at how scoring can look. First, you'll look at your vital systems. So there's 4 different types. Hydrogen collectors, which is the triangle, oxygen collectors, which is a square, and water condensers, which are the hexagon, as well as greenhouses too. You'll score the single largest set of orthogonally adjacent tiles of each type and get the corresponding points for them. Now greenhouses are scored this way, but they're also scored an additional way, looking at complete sets of crops you have in your settlement. So for example, if you have 1 set of pears, apples, and lemons, you're awarded 5 points for having that complete set. And that number increases the more sets you have. Now meteorites are simple. If you have the most, you score 10 points. And depending on your player count, you may score some if you're in 2nd or 3rd place. Each sales office is worth 2 victory points. Now constructions are a little bit interesting. You have 3 different types. A habitation module awards 2 points for each tile that is adjacent in the 8 projectiles around it. So you can get a maximum of 16 points if you surround it with a corresponding tile. Now a residential complex awards you 1 victory point for each tile of the indicated type in any location in your settlement, so it doesn't have to be adjacent to the tile. You'll also have the moon landing grounds, which doesn't give you any points but allow you to draw 3 construction cards and choose 1 to keep. Now you'll score 3 points for each construction card you have in hand at the end of the game, and any points you acquired from concessions, which are goals that are scored at the end of each phase. Now multiple players can score them at the same time if they've both achieved them in the same phase. However, if one has been achieved and you haven't achieved it that phase, you're not able to get it later on. Now there's a few tiles we haven't covered. The demolition tile can be placed on any tile, and any tile can then later be placed on top of it, so it allows you for a little bit of a reset. The Selenite robots and the logistics redistribution allow you to get those corresponding tokens. The Selenite robots help you cover a number and allow you to place a construction card anywhere on your board, not following that increasing from left to right rule. Now, the logistics redistribution token allows you to swap the location of 2 project tiles on the board before choosing the set that you want. With that, you'll tally up your score and the player with the highest score wins. Now that's the game. Will your settlement become the Luna Cpaital? So, what do you think?
It's very fun. It's like a mini city builder, in my opinion, that has like this stressful element of trying to place your tiles on the cards that you have in front of you, and you're limited to 3 rows, and they have to be in ascending order, and it's just like stressful at the end.
I think I was a little bit overwhelmed when I first learned the game, just because there's so many different tiles to observe information of, and like how they interact, how they're placed, and how it needs to work. But then now I really love it because it has that simplicity where all you're doing is picking a card and picking some tiles every turn. But where the strategy really happens is how you place those cards and the project tiles within them. And that makes me very excited to keep playing this game because I want that optimal great score.
Yeah, I'll say that I really like that you start with a hand, so you're not limited to the ones on the board, which you end up having to just play right away. So there is a bit of leniency when it comes to placing like higher numbers. And because there's only 12 rounds, one of the things that we did in our first round is stress out about not having like 2, 3, 4, 5, but realistically you're taking 12 cards and you're allowed to make 3 rows, so you don't really need to worry about that structure.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting, like the different tiles and what everyone else is doing is really interesting too, because if everyone's collecting the greenhouses, obviously you want to try to stop them. And the attention to meteors, how you can use the construction tiles, there's just so much variety in that, and that makes it really exciting. And also, we've been playing a lot of Cascadia, and this game just makes me think of like a more complex Cascadia.
Really?
Well, yeah, because you're taking a tile where you place things, and then you're playing the project tiles where you place them on. So you're basically building your own board, but it's just in a much, much more complex way.
Oh, I think I disagree with that, because it's like, because in my opinion, like Cascadia is like thought process, take what's on the board and put it onto yours.
That's true.
Where you don't get those choices, and you're all going for the same goals. Where in Luna Cpaital you might not be.
Yeah, but they're still the same scoring conditions.
Yeah, I guess.
But I don't know, maybe we've just been playing too much Cascadia.
and yeah, in my opinion, placing is not as complicated. But yeah.
Well, why should you check Luna Cpaital out?
Well, if you like city building type games, then this is definitely a fun game that you should probably pick up. I think just the tile base, having to create your own little tableau, is always appealing to certain people. So if that's down your alley, then Luna Cpaital.
Yeah, if spatial awareness, strategic thinking, planning ahead, also looking at what everybody else is doing and potentially working against them to be the best capital. If that type of game really appeals to you, then this may be the game for you. There's definitely some really tense moments, and you may not always get what you want, but it leaves for that exciting, perfect combination moments as well, because if you're able to create this big chain of one of the buildings that you need, then you're good.
30 points,
Exactly.
Yeah, you can score a lot of points from certain things, and I think that's really cool. If you're looking for a game that you're never going to be perfect at this game because you have to place everything you pick up. So, or you have to place the project tiles, the construction tiles? Project tiles. You have to place those on the cards, no matter what. So you end up by round 4, phase A, like you're taking 4 tiles, and you have to think about how exactly they're going to place. And essentially, you take the one that is the most optimal, but it's never going to be. I mean, maybe it will be, but it's likely not going to be perfect. So if that's the type of game that interests you in trying to like adapt to what's given, then Luna.
And there's a lot of game to discover too. Like there are concessions, short-term and long-term change, and there's so many different ones. The goals of the game change, and that really influences your decision making too. So that makes it really exciting.
Well, why shouldn't you check it out?
Well, if you are prone to paralysis by analysis, this may not be the game for you. Just because there is a lot of information, especially up front with the different tiles and how they interact with each other and what they do, that in the beginning of the game you can be like, there's so many opportunities and so many things I can do. And if you don't enjoy that feeling, if you really get stuck by it, or if your friends don't like you taking too long on your turns, then this may not be the game for you.
Yeah, tableau building can sometimes be a little difficult and not so fun. So if it's like not your style of game, then I would avoid Luna Cpaital. I don't really have any other reasons.
I think spatial awareness too, because we have a couple of friends that aren't. Spatial awareness is just not their forte. So if spatial awareness is not your forte and you don't want to work on that skill, then this is another game that you really need to kind of plan ahead spatially where you want things to go and how you want things to interact.
Yeah, I guess even to that point, like if you aren't that type of person that really wants to plan far in advance about what you're going to do, then maybe Luna Cpaital probably isn't for you, because you do, although it seems very, very short term what you're doing, you do really have to think about the possibility of drawing like certain projectiles and then how and where they're going to go from your initial card placed.
Yeah. It's a very hard game to improv and just be like, I'm going to do this. You really do have to plan.
Yeah.
Well, overall, what do you think?
I really like it. It's cool. I think we've been playing, besides roll and writes, we've been playing a lot of like city builders tile placements. So
does that mean there's another month?
No, there's not. No. Not yet, at least. But this is just another one that I'm happy that we've been able to try, and I'm really excited to share it with people. I think you folks will really enjoy this game. Well, at least some of you out there will really enjoy this game.
If you followed our why should you check it out, so you'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me, it's just the one other thing we didn't talk about is the art in this game is really
very
beautiful.
cool. Yeah.
And you actually do feel like you're building a space because your board becomes very bare in the beginning. As you get more projectiles, you just comes to life.
Yeah.
And you have some greenhouses, you have some water tanks that make water for you to survive on the moon, and it just thematically it's very pleasing as well, which makes me happy. But yeah.
Yep. I like the scoring in it too. I think it's interesting. The amounts of ways you can score different points.
Lots of different strategies to approach. And the race to the finish of those concessions is always fun because you can really prioritize them. Yeah, and that's where it's really fun. And the components too, like each of them have a little token, so it does have a really good feel to it too. So yeah, no complaints from my end.
Oh, and I don't think we mentioned it, but there's an advanced variant where your characters get like an ability, right?
I think that's a promo. So I'm not sure if that comes with every game, but on the pre-order you may be able to get the promo, which each of your sponsors has their own ability as well, which is a tile that you get to place.
Yes. We haven't played it yet, but it looks very cool.
Well, thank you so much for watching our Check It Out series for Luna Cpaital. If
you liked what you saw here, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button or that bell notification, because we make videos every week and we love if you drop by and say hi.
But before you go, our question for the day is,
if you could go to the moon right now, would you? With the catch that you wouldn't be able to return. Completely survive, you'd be able to completely live on it, you'd be able to survive on it, no worries about that, but you would not be able to come back to Earth.
Would anyone else come with me?
It would be like an open invitation to anybody out there.
Would you come with me?
Is there internet?
I hope so, because I think if there isn't,
how
are we going to make our Check It Out video?
That's true. Yeah.
I would
go... I don't think I would.
They wouldn't ship board games to the moon. There's enough of a shipping crisis
There's this
already.
giant catapult shooting them out into the moon.
No, I think a little bit later maybe when the board game shipping is a little bit friendlier, but... Alright, well have a wonderful rest of your day and make sure to let us know in the comments.
Yeah, exactly. But until next time, this is us checking out. Bye!